matter where she is and what she's doing in this world, this island girl is always representing. I speak of no other than Tara Lynne, your one and only Bimini Gal, who writes, sings, performs, and spreads love through her music. Groove with us as Tara Lynne talks music, experiences, struggles, triumphs, and the inspiration behind her newest release, What the World Needs. It's her story in her words, and she's telling it on Island Girls Rock. Groove with us. Hi, Carolyn.
Hey, CeCe, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I am excellent. I am so happy to be here. I know we gonna have a good time.
Yes, I know, because anytime with you is a good time. I don't know how you do it, but that's why you're here, so we can find out. Okay, so
You're too sweet, yeah.
how have you been doing during this time I call our new norm?
You know what? I'm doing well. Like at this point, I can say that, and I can say that with confidence. Now, if you would have asked me in like March or April how I was doing, I was gonna give you a completely different answer. Those times, it was difficult just trying to adjust. I had been so used to being on the road and doing shows and traveling, and when all that came to a halt, it was really difficult for me to kind of figure out, okay, well, what am I supposed to do? This is what I've been so used to, and that was what I was looking forward to. But during this time, I could honestly say it has just allowed me the opportunity to truly get to slow down, get to know myself, to learn a lot more about myself, to write music that I would have never wrote because I wouldn't have been in that state of mind. So, the process has been, it's been tough. It's been a whirlwind, but overall, I believe that everything has turned out extremely positive. Use everything that's coming your way, no matter good or bad or how it feels, and it all working out for the good.
Let's talk about your musical journey and how it began. You are a
Okay,
proud Bimini gal from the Bahamas. Tell us a little bit about
that's
how
it.
Bimini.
Yeah, well, I call myself the Bimini gal because I grew up in Bimini, Bahamas, and I feel like that part of my life really stamped in my love for music. Number one, we could even start with saying, I just tell people, I feel like music is in my veins. I was born with music running through me, and notes and melodies and ideas. Because my father was a calypso band singer. He had a band that was called Ozzy Brown and the Calypsonians,
Okay.
and they used to play at the yes, and you probably have heard of Complete Anglo. Anybody that's
Yes.
familiar, with the Bahamas. Yes, so that was his hotel, and Ernest Hemingway came down there. It was just a place of a lot of history as well. And I remember always, kind of sneaking in or saying, hey, Daddy, let me sing along with you. And he really nurtured that desire in me, which is what grew for my love for our culture and just the music of the Caribbean. Because, he wasn't just doing, he was doing calypso and he was doing soca, but my father was well versed. He loved jazz and he loved reggae as well. So I was exposed to those types of genres at a very young age. But getting back to the Bimini Gal, when I started to really pursue my music again, I realized that the essence of who I am, it all came from my brought up seat. It
Yes.
came from that time in my life. And that's why I really profess that. I'm like, you know what, I Sarah Lynn, the one and only Bimini Gal, always representing 100%, CC.
One time, fell in love with me. One time when I kill it with the wine. One time, fell in love with me. One time when I kill it with the wine. One time. They call me the rude boy goddess. When I wine say you just can't stop it. He said I'm the one to play.
And one and only that you are. There's no one else like you.
Hey.
Such a pleasant spirit. Okay, so you have a very rich history, and it's it's something that you said that answers the question for me. in terms of the influences in your music, that your father exposed you to so many different types at such an early age. It allows me to connect the
Mm,
dots because your music also is inspired by reggae, soca, R&B. And now
yes.
we know where it comes from. It's because you've been exposed and you've found a way to mesh it all together in your Bahamian sound, your Bimini sound, and it was awesome. It's not like anything we've heard before. So it's hard to, you want to categorize you in soca, but you're not just soca. And that is so
Mm,
wonderful. And sometimes we want to put people in a box, especially in the music industry. We want to categorize. But I think it's great when you can fall into different categories. You know what I mean? Because that means you're reaching more people. So tell me,
absolutely.
have you had conflict in your music career with people saying, "Well, Tara, you need to decide what box you're in," or you are just one of those people, you explore your freedom and that's it.
Yeah, you know what? I first want to thank you for saying that and even acknowledging that because, yes, there has been a lot of pressure in the music industry to say, oh, well, you're a soca artist or you reggae, you dancehall artist, like, what are you? When I create, I never approach a project with the intent to say, oh, well, what is this genre? Or, who's going to be collaborating on this record? When I go into creation process, I go with what feels good. If the music sounds good and it ends up being a soca song, then so be it. If the music sounds good and it ends up being categorized as dancehall, so be it.
Right.
It really doesn't matter to me. Yes, it's whatever feels good, and what that rhythm is telling me, or that rhythm is giving me, like those emotions. That's how I write. And sometimes I write and I just have the melodies in my head. I don't have a rhythm yet, and then I seek those things out. But yeah, I kind of go against the grain. I'm also the middle child, so I kind of buck whenever. I'm doing better now, as I'm getting, more mature in myself and all that good stuff. But yeah, no, from a long time, even before, I'm not sure that you knew this, but back in 2000 and I think it was 2003, I was actually on Lil Wayne's album, The Carter 2.
Yeah. Well, it's not the one them call Look a Big Win. He's a B. Alongside Tara Lynne. More fire, yo.
That sold over 1 million copies in the US, and I did, a reggae vibe on that record. And at the time, people were like, oh, well, are you doing this, or do you sing? No, well, I do sing, but I sing this way. I use my heritage to sing that way, and I use my culture. So I've been fighting that for a long time, but at this point, I'm just so comfortable in who I am, and I know what I want to say, that I just do it, and I do it unapologetically, and that's what attracts what I call like my tribe or my people, that support me. And I think that that's one thing that they do love, is that I do spread myself into other genres. I don't stick into a box.
As I walk in, them judge me. I got a big top on my bottom bigger. It ain't my fault your man watching. Out here scoping out my figure. It ain't just cause it's hers too. Out here playing the fool. I see him watching, playing peekaboo. Like I can see him watching too.
And the good thing about that, when I like an artist,
Mhm.
right? Sometimes I may not be in the mood for their sound, so I go and I seek out reggae or soca or something else. The good thing about your
Mhm.
tribe is they can get it all from you. So they
Yeah,
may not
that's
be
true.
in the mood for soca today, but hey, Tara Lynne has reggae too. So kudos to you
Yeah,
for that.
yeah,
Thank
that's
you
true.
for
Thank you.
letting me into your collaboration, because that was going to be my next topic.
Hey.
You have collaborated with many producers and artists such as Lil Wayne, and you've also opened for a lot of amazing performers. People like Michelle
Yeah.
Montana, Beanie Man, Allison Hines, all favorites to the
Mhm.
show, to Island Grooves, my home show. Sizzle,
Yeah.
uh, you've opened for people like Monica in R&B, Wyclef Jean in the fusion.
Mhm.
This goes on. So
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
in a way, the diversity of your music and your style has allowed you also to perform in a diverse array and with a diverse array of artists. So,
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about that and what was that time like for you when you had those opportunities?
Yeah, it really it goes to show that music is universal, and people don't have to know your record to be able to vibe with you at a show. And I feel for me, that's one of my strong points as an artist because I truly love performing. So when I'm able to, get out in front of the audience and I'm able to give them my energy, to give them all of my vibes, they feel it and I'm able to get that back. And that's how I create a lot of fans.
You have come out with several songs and music videos, and you're coming out with a new one now that's inspired by the new one. But let's take a trip down memory lane with some of your prior music before we get to this new project now. You started out with
Okay.
One Time, your video you shot in your hometown. The song, Carolyn,
Yes.
so upbeat. I'm in my kitchen in the day, cooking and sweeping, and I'm singing one time. I mean, it is a classic. It's been out for so
Yeah.
long, I feel like it's new. So tell us a little bit about
Yeah.
that. What inspired that?
You know, we had the rhythm for it or like the music for it, and we just came up with this hook. We were saying one time, and we said that probably for like a few days. And
Yeah,
at first, I was like, I don't know about this. What are we talking about? It might be too simple. But when people hear you saying something, they catch on. I was like, okay, I need to expand on this because people was already picking up on the little, the one time on that melody. So it was just a really fun song to write and a fun song to work on. I partnered with a very good friend of mine, Shiva Richardson, who is a talented singer and writer out of Anguilla. And we've worked on a lot of songs together, but she co-wrote that song with me. And it was just, like I said, it was a lot of fun. But my goal for that record, honestly, CeCe, I knew it was going to be my first single, kind of, really coming back out to the world as an artist.
yeah,
So I wanted something that my grandmother could listen to,
yeah.
my mother, my son, anyone in my family, and I would feel proud that I didn't have to bleep out anything or it wasn't, too suggestive. I wanted something that if everybody could be able to listen to and just have a good time can on a little bit.
Yeah,
So that's how the premise of One Time came up.
it was truly a feel-good anthem. Now tell us, who
Hmm.
the guy is the one time who fall in love with you? Or that's a secret.
well, CeCe is so much to tell.
A real lady doesn't.
So we can leave them be. Yeah.
So your next song,
Oh, oh my gosh.
you know, Lizzo has been singing about being big and sexy, and she went all the way to the top of it. But I think your big and sexy was out first. You
Now,
are like all Caribbean Lizzo. Tell us about this song.
this was my second single, and it was extremely personal to me, and it still is,
Hmm.
because I've always felt a lot of pressure, and it has been even expressed, that you should look a certain way to be in the industry.
Yeah,
You should be a certain size
yeah,
to be in the industry. You need to dress a certain way to be in the industry.
yeah.
And I don't tell you, I is a Bimini gal, I is a middle child. I like to do things way. And I just got so fed up. Like I was just going through a time where I was like, you know what? I am so tired of people telling me what to do. And then I was also listening to my friends and people in my circle, and some of my girlfriends were going through the same thing and they were feeling the same way. And that's how that song got birthed. So, one of the lines from the second verse is, my size, my waist, my shape, I don't really care what people say. I'm loving me whether size 4 or size 16. Period. You know what I mean? So to me, the message is it doesn't, and what I was trying to really get across, and I feel that people have received it, is that it doesn't matter what size, what the scale says, what size you wear. What matters is how you feel about yourself. yourself. As long as you feel good about yourself, you loving you, then it don't matter what anybody else has to say, as long as you're okay with you.
Yes,
Yep.
great message. So, your new song is a great message, but I think it's important to note that you've been putting out great messages from the beginning of your career. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like it was a healing place for you as it was making the rest of us happy. Is that how
Yeah.
it works?
Yeah, as you were talking, I feel like I need to share this because I was actually getting my makeup done for Bahamas Carnival, and the makeup artist, she was like, "Oh my God, my daughter will die if she know I doing your makeup." She called her and she told me, she said she was having issues at school where she was being bullied,
Yeah.
and she said my song actually helped her to feel better about herself. And I was like, what? I was like, my son, she said, yes. She said she loves it and she's, feeling more confident about herself because she like, yeah, I big and sexy and cute. Boy. So I'm like, you know what? And I know that's one person. But for me, if only one person get the message, that's good enough. But I know that there's a lot of people that have stories like that. So yeah, it was very, what's the word? Like you said, I really put myself out there because I let people know, okay, this is something that I struggle with personally. That's a lot to be able to actually kind of tell on yourself, right? To say I'm not perfect. I fluctuate. I up and down. I'm a mother. I'm a grown woman.
Yeah.
And these things are real. And I'm so glad to hear you say that you've been hearing those positive messages because that is actually my goal. That is my purpose, to make sure that even in the music that I'm bringing a positive vibe, that I'm able to shed some light and shine my little light in this world.
Moving on to the next one. Don't fall on my.
Ready, and me bumper heavy. When I push back, oh, me steady, but don't step up, boy, if you not ready. But if you wanna test me, you better don't fall behind when it's action time. Don't fall on me. Fall behind when it's action time. Don't fall on me. You better don't fall behind when it's action time. Don't fall on me. Fall behind when it's action time. Don't fall on me. Before you tell me once, at least that. Hope you can back up the chit chat. Cause baby, when I start.
Tell me if I don't fall on my mind.
Hey, this was a very, very, very fun record. It was the first time that I think I really did like what you call hardcore Trinidad soca. So I was blessed to be on this rhythm. It was a rhythm out of Trinidad with NMG, who's, a very, very popular producer out there. And I was on the rhythm with Cyan Lyons, who is like CeCeGrooves, Patrice Roberts, Nadia Batson, Jay Dell, and myself.
Oh,
the
you
little
were
girls from Bimini. I was with the women thriving at the top of the game.
Yeah.
Like no other way to say it. So it was an honor for me to be able to be featured and for him to recognize my talent and to want to even put me in the mix with those names. And that really brought me on the map a lot more, especially, in the Trinidad soca area and really working all the carnival circuits. I got my name out there a lot. But it was a really fun record. It was high intensity. It was nonstop, not a lot of places to breathe in the song. But big up to Yannick Joseph. He wrote that. He's out of Trinidad, an amazing, amazing writer. I still work with him to this day. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was the carnival tune. And if anybody see if we're inserting the video, you will see that was full real vibe.
Well, tell us a little bit about, tell us as much as you want about this new song you're releasing, What the World Needs. Let us know what the world needs. Let us know the inspiration behind it.
Tara Lynne, oh yeah. What the world needs, what the world needs now. What the world needs, what the world needs now. A little bit of love and some unity. We have to be the change that we want to see. Bundy band, my put the guns down. That's what the world needs. That's what the world needs. Hey, a little more love and some unity. We have to
very simple. What the world needs is love. If we operated from a place of love, even within differences, there would be peace.
Yeah.
We would still have harmony. You wouldn't have all this dissension or you wouldn't have all this hatred. You would be able to look at an individual, and even if you don't agree with them, you could understand if we looked at it from a place of love. So I believe love is the answer. God is love, right? That's the most simplest way that you could break down even whoever you believe in, Allah, Jesus, it don't matter. Love, that is the answer. That is really what it boils down to. So for me, when I was witnessing all of the injustices that was going on here in the States and seeing the dissension that was happening, it put me in it took me back to really a place that I thought that I had healed from, because I lost my dad to a home invasion robbery. He left in a horrible way, right? And seeing all of that brought all that stuff up for me. So what the world needs was really born out of that, out of me, like really, just kind of, I feel like even going through a healing process, if you will, by writing that record. I feel like I've released a lot. And I feel more at peace. So it's me just, letting everyone know this is what we need. Imagine if it was no more war. I imagine if all the children they're born never had to starve, things of that nature. And even though the beat, like I still feel like the beat has, a positive vibe to it, but the lyrics are from here, straight from my heart. And I feel like this is, even though the song came out of, the situations that were going on, it's still something that's timeless because it will never go out of style.
Yeah, it's the music, the sound, and the words. I found it to be timeless. I think it's one of those songs that will that will continue to play throughout time as well. And now I understand even more because it came from such a heartfelt and genuine place. I'm sorry for your loss. I truly am. And I know that he's down and he's so proud of you carrying on his legacy in such a positive way, So I want to thank you, Tara Lynne, so much for not only entertaining us, but continuing to uplift us, inspire us, and most of all, what you do best for representing us. I mean, your name does not come out without Bimini Gal behind it. You're letting them know, I'm from that little dot on the map. And we so appreciate
That's
that.
right.
Thank you so
Yes,
much.
but he is proud.
So thank you
Yes,
so
yes.
much for sharing. And we hope to catch up with you soon.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I am so happy to represent. And yes, Island Girls, we do rock.